call the meeting to order for April the 8th. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay. And Carrie, if you take the roll call, Dale Casey, please.
Bob DePalma.
Here.
Patty Back.
Here.
Shelley Kidd.
Here.
Jim Christopher.
Here. Okay. Has everybody received a copy of the minutes from the previous meeting, which was March 11th? And if so, are there any questions or comments on those minutes? And the fire board meeting too. If not, the motion will be in order.
A motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
I have a second.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? And from the audience? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, they're approved. You have the agenda in front of you tonight. I know we have a couple of minor changes under new business for Jerry Edwards. I just think it should actually indicate not just building inspector, but plan review, ordinance officer, and he is already the fire marshal. And then we want to add item E for the Michigan outdoor contract, because that came in for the lawn care services. And I notice on 11 under resolutions, there's two Bs. The last one should be C, and we should add a D, which is public comment. Other than that, are there any questions or comments to the agenda? I need a motion now.
A motion to accept the agenda with the additions of Michigan Outdoor Services and D, public comment.
Okay, and Jerry Edwards' other
And
jobs.
Jerry Edwards.
And
I have a second.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board and from the audience? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Financials, we have. First item is budget amendments. Patty, you want to take care of that?
Yep, it's with the brand new,
I can hope we're okay. We're only 8 days in, right?
it's been April 1st, it's only April 8th. We have no budget amendments.
A good thing for
That's a good thing.
That's probably the only one this year.
It might, yeah, you never know.
How about accounts payable? That we do.
Accounts payable, there was $7,976.36. Out of the general fund, Township Fund 101, $1,626.90 was paid out in General 249. That was for reimbursement of some permits that contractor put in and then didn't get to work. And then $532.50 was taken out of 701, which is the fiduciary where we pay out. And then in the fire fund, 206, the month was $15,696.74. So my motion is to accept the accounts payable as presented.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Any from the audience? Okay, Carrie, would you take a roll call?
Patty Back.
Yes.
Shelley Kidd.
Yes.
Jim Christopher.
Yes.
Bob DePalma.
Yes. Okay, do we have any financial reports for general fire and building?
Yes, I gave everybody a copy.
I
I actually
I
said,
did.
if you didn't get it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Five of everything else.
All the accounts are balanced and all of them have approved ratings, star ratings, and the investments are doing well.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the board on it? Questions, this is the beginning of the year, it should be all right. It's like I said, it's 7 days old. Is there any questions or comments from the audience? If not, somebody make a motion to approve them as submitted.
Can I motion, ma'am?
Sure.
Okay, I will motion to approve them.
Okay, second to that?
Second.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? And from the audience? Okay, financial approved. And she gave us the investment report there on the last one, which is got where the money is in the various buckets. And We have nothing on the agenda today under public hearings, and no presentations are anticipated for today. No unfinished business, so we're going to move right to new business. And the first item on new business is to discuss the proposed graveling program. And you should have a copy of the letter dated March 26th that I got from our road foreman out here. And for this year, for 2019, what he's proposed is 3.36 miles of Bald Eagle Lake Road from Wildwood to the township line. So I think we've done Wildwood in quite a while that I can remember, so it's probably a bit overdue, and that's the only recommendation he had. So I need a motion from somebody unless someone wants to discuss a different road.
I'll motion to gravel Bald Eagle Lake from Wildwood to Township Line for 3.36 miles.
Is there a second?
And I will second that.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Or from the audience? Every year we do about 3 miles. This happens to be 3 1/3. I wish I could tell you how much. They told us it went up this year, but they won't know until they actually get the bids back, and that's after we get the list of roads. So it'll be fairly expensive. So we'll do that.
So a quick question, how do you, or how is it established or determined the distance that they re-gravel roads?
Well,
Is there a standard that's used?
no, we do about 3 miles a year, and that seems to keep the roads in pretty good shape. And every spring, we go to Tom, our road foreman, because he drives the roads all the time for us and 3 other townships. And we ask him for a list of the roads that they need. If there's more than one, he might give us a mile here, or a mile and a half here, and a mile and a half somewhere else. But we try to do right around 3 miles. This happens to be 3 1/3 miles.
Sure.
The cost for graveling used to be, when I started here, $6,000 a mile. Last year, I think it was 18 or 20,000
Per mile?
Yes. And they sent us a notice this year that said it's going to go up because there's been a shortage of gravel. And so they're going to be substantially higher, but they can't tell us until after they let the bid out and it comes back. And it happens to conflict with the days when we happen to do the bid. So basically, we just say, I will do 3 miles, and we'll figure out how to pay whatever it is. But I would guess it'll be at least 60 grand this year, maybe 65, something like that. Yeah, dirt ain't cheap. That's how we do it. And he only gave us Bald Eagle this year, so he's pretty good about knowing which ones actually need gravel and they haven't had it in a while, as opposed to some that just might need regrading.
Okay, got it.
And on the major roads like Groveland, Barron, and Wildwood itself, and Oak Hill, those are primaries, the county gravels, those that we don't have any contribution.
Okay.
So it's really just on the secondary roads. Okay, I will let Tom know tomorrow. We approve that. Next is the discussion from the MTA on the nonpartisan township ballot. I think everybody got a copy of the information from the board of directors. This issue came up back, I think, in 2012, and the overwhelming majority of the townships decided that they wanted to prefer to stay partisan, and then there was some information that came with this stuff that kind of explained what the pros and cons were on whether or not the elected position should be partisan or nonpartisan. I know if you happen to see the Citizen article on Saturday, you guys did a nice story on it because Brandon just voted on theirs. And I think they voted 6-0 to keep it partisan. So with that, I'll open the discussion if anybody on the board wants to make any comments or references, and then we'll see if the audience has any comments on it.
Well, I looked it over myself, and I prefer to stay partisan.
Okay? Okay.
Yeah, I think.
I don't want to put you on the spot. Eventually, we got to vote on this.
I know. I think or believe that, pretty much once we're elected in, we're rather nonpartisan, whether we're
Correct.
Democrat or Republican or whatever party. However, I do think it does help the community and the residents know where you stand, which way you go. So if you're more Democrat, more Republican, more middle of the road, libertarian, I don't know all of them, but I should. But yeah, so I think right now I prefer to stay non-partisan.
Okay. Jim?
Same here, Bob.
Yeah, I feel the same way. The reasons you're mentioning are really the ones that were enumerated by Brandon when they went through the same process, and they're outlined in that guideline from it. But I'd be curious if anybody in the audience wants to make a comment on that. Are you raising your hand, Joe, or just fixing the camera?
I'm waiting.
Okay.
My hand on a swivel.
Anybody have a comment they want to make? Okay. Then if not, let's have a motion that we send back to the MTA that we discussed it at our board meeting, and in line with the supporting arguments for staying partisan on the board, we'll take a vote on whether or not we want to stay partisan. So I would suggest that we do stay partisan, and that would be my motion. Is there a second? I think you did. Okay. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Any comments from the audience? Okay. We'll send a
I'll
notice to
prepare
the.
this.
Can you send that to the MTA? Okay.
Absolutely. Glad to.
I don't want to say I'm not shocked, but that's kind of what I figured would happen. It happened almost the same way, I think, in 2012, just about all of the townships. Next discussion item is really, this one's for you, Shelley. It's your MTA Advanced Institute for Treasurer.
Yes, they're having an advanced institute for professional treasurers, and I would like to attend. It's from May 20th to the 22nd. It offers a terrific range of education, new changes to the laws, cybersecurity, to networking, lots of different areas it covers. Plus also it gives me an opportunity to work with my peers and learn from them also.
Oh, networking.
Networking. And I believe that attending this would be beneficial to the Treasury Department and to the township. The registration fee is $325. That covers all the sessions, materials, and most of the meals. So I would be requesting for some of the meals and 3 nights lodging, which is at a discounted rate of $79 a night, and also mileage to and from the institute.
Okay. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay. Someone want to second the motion?
I'll second it.
Jim? Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? Any from the audience? These are classes usually put on by the MTA. They're very good.
One
This
question
one
is,
Oh, that's right.
do you get credits
Yes.
for continuing education when you do a session like that?
Yes.
That would be beneficial to the township, right?
This one is the Michigan Municipal Treasurers
Oh, treasurer,
Association.
so-
Yeah,
Oh,
not
it gets
MTA, I'm
confusing
sorry.
because they all have M's and T's and M's and, you know.
Okay, any other comments or questions? If not, Carrie, would you take a roll call?
Shelley Kidd,
Yes.
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Bob DePalma,
Yes.
Patty Back.
Yes.
Okay. Next item to discuss is, we've had some flex, when Steve left and changing the jobs, so we had to have different people come in for a while. Some of them were very helpful to us in getting through that transition, but we'd like to try and streamline some of the building department stuff. So Jerry Edwards, the individual that we hired for our fire ordinance, and fire marshal, and I think he's been working out well with you on that stuff. So we've had a little opportunity and experience with him now. He's also certified to do ordinance work and plan review and building inspections. So I would like to consolidate all those back into one job again. I think it makes it easier for Carrie when she's doing some of the scheduling between plan review and the building inspection on that stuff. And the fire marshal and the ordinance reviews in themselves usually aren't enough to have somebody here busy because we don't have enough of that. But to put it all together, it makes it enough of a decent part-time job for Jerry. He has a lot of certification credentials in doing that up in Lapeer. And
For 40
I think
years.
he's, right?
For 40 years.
For 40 years, yeah. And I think he is particularly got quite a bit of experience in doing some condemned buildings. And we have a couple that we've looked at before that we were told didn't meet the criteria at the time. But I'd like to have Jerry, and I've talked to him about it, to see if starting tomorrow he could look at a couple of those and see if we actually can get rid of a couple of them. I'm thinking of the one over by the ski lake in particular.
Yeah.
And then I was just noticing, the roof fell in on the barn on the Oshie's property, so we're gonna have to have something done with that.
There's one on the Groveland Road by Genesee County border where the front porches all collapsed in.
So, let's get him started on one and see how
And
it
their
works.
barns collapsed into.
Yeah, he's pretty good at doing that stuff, I think, so I feel we'd have a pretty good track record for it. And he's offered to look at some of our procedures for those processes and kind of do cut and paste of what he's already developed up on the pier that would work very easy. He's looked at our fees, and I think he's talked to you about it, Carrie. Seems like things are in line, so I think we got a good match now going forward. And I had a good discussion with him Thursday before I left. And I think we'll be in better shape, so it would be at the same fees and structures that we've been paying all along with various jobs. So to that point, I'd like to make a motion that we hire Jerry Edwards for plan review, building inspections, ordinance work, and fire marshal.
I would second that.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments from the board? And from the audience? You gotta watch with that hand, man. Keep on thinking you're getting ready to ask me something. Okay, if there's, yeah, I'm sorry.
So that's okay. Quick question. So if the buildings become condemned, certified, what's the executive summary? How quickly could those buildings be removed?
It takes time, a lot of time. It even takes a lot of time to get rid of a couple of vehicles that we've been trying to do. The people that own them have some rights, so you have to try and serve them, and frequently what we're finding out is the person that we knew originally owned something doesn't necessarily know it now, and we don't find out for a long time. In the case of one of the vehicles that we've been trying to get rid of, I've called the state police and they said they're gonna help Jerry look at that jet ski in that car tomorrow, I think it is. But it just takes time. I can't tell you how quick. It all depends what happens with the judge. But it will be at least months. You cannot just go in and do it. There's a whole process where they have to be notified. You have to call them in court. If they don't show up, then a bunch of other things happen. And then you finally try and get some of them designated as abandoned vehicles and get rid of them. With the houses, I'm sure it's a little more involved. We have had 2 or 3 homes we had inspected in the past that we thought could be candidates for condemnation. But when Steve went out on a couple of them, he said they're bad, but they ain't bad enough to meet the condemned standards. So I think we're going to let Jerry take a look at them with a new eye and see if we can get rid of them.
That house is falling.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking also, well, what about the one that seems to be abandoned there at the near where Groveland and, is it Brant or, no, where the road changes from dirt to paved?
It depends where it is. If it's on the paved side, it's in Brandon.
Oh,
It's on the dirt side, it's in Groveland.
On Groveland Road? On Groveland Road?
Oh, no, on Groveland Road.
Yeah.
Oh, the one you're talking about by the ski lake.
No, this is further, this is further. You're not living there. You're not living there.
You're talking
And
about,
We're on the
Groveland
pavement.
and
But she's talking about after the pavement stuff.
with the light green siding?
Oh, I don't remember. It's got an old wooden deck on it.
no,
Since the
If you drive by it and you get the address, you can call us and I'll add it to the list for Jerry to look at it. But there's one of them that's been empty for a long time farther down Groveland Road. It's kind of stone and red.
Okay.
And
They're
I
working
saw
on
somebody
that.
in
No,
there,
they are
they were
working
up
on
this
it.
weekend,
Right,
so.
they are working
And they have been paying the taxes on it, so it's not condemnable. But
Yeah.
if you have those, let's see how we get the first couple done and we'll see if we can get the rest of them.
Next year after these two are done.
Huh?
Next year after you get these two done.
Yeah, right. That's about it. Okay, any other
One by
questions?
the ski lake, I mean, there's machinery, there's,
The hog farm.
yeah. I mean,
But you know,
there's-
that one too, we've checked and the taxes are all being paid on that.
It is.
Really?
I thought it was foreclosed on or something.
Well, the last time we checked, the taxes were being paid and I had the house checked a couple years ago and they said it's bad, but it ain't bad enough to meet condemnation.
Oh, there's not even windows in the house.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm gonna have them check that one again. I already talked to Jerry about that one.
And that's not even talking about the barns and the, I mean, there's a tractor in there,
Yeah.
there's
That's an antique.
crap all over.
I was gonna
the-
say, if we can get
Well,
that in
I think
turnover.
they still use it, so they just come back and get it, and they just store it there. But there's other,
There
there's like,
goes why you need to find out who actually owns what when you do it.
but
because you
there's
don't know.
machinery and stuff leaking all over the, I mean, it's kind of environmental.
They probably want a rare portion of the barn.
Yeah.
Everybody's been looking for.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So, well, that's okay. No, we'll add them and see later, but we'll see. That's the first one I think we should start on, because that's the one I think is the worst one. I was noticing on the weekend here in the winter, the roof fell on the old barn. I think we'll start on those two. Okay, if there are no other questions or comments, then take a roll call vote for it if you would carry.
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Bob DiPalma,
Yes.
Patty Back,
Yes.
Shelley Kidd.
yes.
And I think Jerry knows I had a long discussion Thursday that we do it tonight, so he should be all set. Okay, Next is the one we added, item E, Michigan Outdoors. Patty, I think you got that.
Yes, Michigan Outdoors do
Lawn care
our lawn
people.
care. And they sent us an estimate for the year. And their fees have gone up, all in all, a total of $10. So
You're hired.
I would say we should keep with this.
Patty,
And-
oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
As we discussed, the fire department's thinking about cutting their own grass, so if we could approach that, I mean, I'll meet with you tomorrow if you want to call them and see if that's going to change
Okay.
the fee for cutting the grass here, because now they won't do them all in one day or whatnot.
Okay. Do we wanna
We can
vote
approve
on
it.
this? Yes.
Subject to the rates not changing
Right.
for the township's property. How's that?
Significant. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they'll go up some, but,
Okay.
No, they did, they went.
$5.
I mean, if we
$10
cut out
total.
the fire department is what I'm saying.
Increase of $10 total, so. Okay, so I'll make a motion that we go with Michigan Outdoor Service for the township lawn care, and providing that the fees do not go higher,
Based on.
possibly the fire department cutting their own lawn.
Okay.
I would second that.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Any from the audience? Jeremy? Yes. Okay, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Bob DiPalma?
Yes.
Patty Back?
Yes.
Shelley Kidd?
Yes.
Jim Christopher?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll move to resolutions. The first one we have, these are resolutions that generally come to us from Oakland County. They want to declare April as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. This is like apple pie and motherhood, you gotta say yes to this, so, somebody wanna make the
That's your
motion?
motion?
That'll be my motion.
I'll support that.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board?
I'll take
Any
care
from
of
the
it.
audience? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, April it is. Next one is the West Nile Virus Fund. We have to adopt this resolution because this is part of the program every year, which we and the residents affectionately call the bug spray time. So, you know, when we put the sign out front that says the mosquito repellent material is in, the money for buying that comes from Oakland County through this West Nile prevention program. And part of that is I or somebody has to go to this one-day training class every year.
Okay.
Wonderful, because it's the same thing every year. And then we have to have a resolution that adopts it and tell them how we're going to spend the money, which is the same thing we've done for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. And this is part of what we have to submit in order to get the money back from the county, so that you can keep your eye out once we get this done. It'll be put on the sign out front, you'll see that it'll say West Nile virus items are available, and we'll have boxes of it in here for residents. So I need a motion to adopt this resolution for the reimbursement fund.
I'll motion to adopt the resolution for the West Nile virus reimbursement fund.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Any from the audience?
Is there a shelf life on this stuff?
No,
Or do you
most
just
of
really
it,
go
no,
through
there's very little of it. Believe me, when we get it, it'll be gone.
Yeah, it does.
People will come in and say, I asked a week ago. Well, you waited too long, because now it's coming.
Yeah.
It goes pretty darn quick, and we never have any left over, really. Some big communities that get significantly more money than us
Right.
may have some left over, and they have from time to time. It's not expired, they've given it to us.
Okay.
But what we have will be gone in a couple of weeks. It goes very fast.
And we've always gotten it from Arlene Thompson's, from Thompson's Hardware. Well, since she's not there anymore, Teresa worked very hard to call around, and we're gonna go with Ace Hardware. They're working with her very nicely to be right in the ballpark of the area.
Can I ask you to give this resolution tomorrow to Teresa, because she's the one who's following up on that paperwork for
Yeah.
us? Okay. So all in favor, I guess, of the West Nile reimbursement, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. Bug spray will be coming one of these days. The other item we got from the county is they want to make, this one is for
Fair housing.
fair housing, yeah. April also marks the 51st anniversary of fair housing, so this is a resolution from the county. Again, it's like apple pie and motherhood. These come every year from the county. Is there someone, I'll make a motion that we approve the fair housing resolution for April.
I'll support.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Any from the audience? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, good stuff. Let's see. Okay, then that moves to the other addition we made, and that is public comment. Is there anybody that wants to make any public comments before we move on to the officer report? Let's see, Neil, isn't it? Neil, by the way, who is, just for those of you who don't know.
I'll tell them.
Okay, all right.
So I have a story to tell. I moved to Groveland Township in 2004, and it had been a joy to live here. And first thing I did when I got here was I do my due diligence on the house. And I walked in and I talked to the ladies at the counter, and I asked to see the plats, and are there any chemical waste dumps, and what should I know about the township. And I'll never forget the line. I told them I wanted to move on to Brant Road. There's somebody else here from Brant Road, I think. There you go. And they said, Brant Road? Oh. That's the road that makes the school bus drivers cry. Those are our hills and the icy conditions. Shortly after that, Bob invited me on to the tax appeals board of review. And
The guy knows how to have a good time.
you know, with my buddies.
Party animal.
And then after that, planning commission, I've been on both for about 12 years.
Done very nicely.
And
Thanks.
it has been a joy. About 5 years into being involved, I had the conversation with Bob about, what's it like to be the supervisor. And he said, someday I'm going to retire. I bet you're waiting for that day too. But it hasn't come yet. And I think most of us in the township are glad it didn't come yet, because you've done such a wonderful job for us. But because I thought about, the possibility of doing it eventually, I paid a lot more attention to, I think, the township operations and beyond the planning commission. And I have to tell you, one of the things about our community is such a great staff we have. And watching people join and come and get promoted has been part of this. So, funny thing happened, I was traveling in November, and when I got back, I got an email from friends. She said, I wanted to make sure you knew about this opportunity. You should apply for it. I think you'd be good at it. So I applied along with 49 other people, and 8 people were selected for interviews with the selection committee. And then a month later, 3 of us were invited in for a second round of interviews. And then I got a call later that day that they had picked me. And a month later, I had to give a formal presentation to the board, which is 30 members. And it went very well. It's a very friendly and welcoming organization. And I'm happy to tell you that although I'm resigning effective tomorrow from the board of review and from the planning commission, I will be the next executive director of Michigan Townships Association.
So for those of you who don't realize this now, we have a state senator who's a resident and the executive director of the Michigan Townships Association statewide who's a resident.
Statewide.
I can't think of a better preparation for doing that job well than the combination of what I saw here and seen us do and the leadership that you provide and the care that we just saw in our meeting that you put into the work. And I'd vote for you guys if you were Democrats or Republicans. I don't know. So, I hate that we might have to move. We're thinking about making that a kind of reasonable drive
Where was your office be located?
over Lansing.
Far side of Lansing, really.
So you don't get a drive over that job?
I wish I had a helicopter. But, this is the best township I have personally had a chance to really deeply know. Now I get a chance to meet many more. But we have so much going for us, and you have created that here. We have created that here over the past 50 years. And Bob, you'll be a tough act to follow whoever gets the job. And I look forward to helping the township in any way I can from the perspective I'll have there.
I think it's well-deserved what you've got there. I'm thrilled that you're there. I know that you understand our township's kinds of issues, and that's what's really important in an organization like the MTA. And I think no better way to do that than actually have the experience you've had. You've been very good on planning commission and very fair on the tax appeals too, so I appreciate it. I hate to see you go, because now I got to figure out somebody else to replace you. But I think
most townships are kind of our size and our population size. But they go from being 10 people to 100,000 people.
Yeah.
And I've had some urban experience too, but I will report back periodically to make sure that everything's going well. I was thinking about taking a mail subscription to the Citizen.
There you go.
I'll sign you up.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Yes,
guys.
thank you so much.
Okay, any other public comment?
I was just wondering how the holes in our new pavement on Tripp Road happened.
Holes?
Two holes, one on the,
East side.
yeah,
Really?
one in each lane, yeah.
They might be boreholes for the test. I look, because there's paint around them, so they
Yeah,
may.
the one on the eastbound is painted, but the one
Oh, I didn't
on
see
the
the other one.
eastbound is not.
I didn't notice this.
Yeah,
Of
they're
course, I
about,
haven't been on it in a few
they're
days,
about,
but.
yeah, maybe
Well,
10 inches.
normally they're only about 3, 4 inch holes.
Yeah.
Well, if they're small, about this size.
That's the
some-
borehole to test them.
Well, and sometimes that's where they put the GIS markers too. Like, there's one at the end of the sidewalk here on the township property. If you go down by the fire station, there's one out in the middle of the road somewhere. A few years ago, the federal government paid to have everybody re-survey their GIS lines. And they put new permanent markers in, and that's really the markers that all the surveyors use now when they do a lot division. They know that there's a marker at the end of this sidewalk in the lawn that is got XY coordinates, and they measure everything from it. They know the one that's in the road by the fire station, and they're all over the township. I'm only guessing it might be that they were pouring
Looks
a
like
hole
they're-
in there to either test or to put one of
It
those.
looks like they
higher
were bored
markers.
and then filled with gravel.
Yeah, and then it might be until they
Deteriorate.
put whatever they, the marker's usually metal. It looks like a little tiny sewer cover usually. But I'm only guessing because I haven't noticed it. So.
I was hoping it wasn't falling apart.
Well, it's only $2 million. Dave will keep me abreast of it because he rides that. He kept on saying thank you for getting it paid for. Okay, thanks. Any other comments or observations?
I got one now, just last time you mentioned, there was like studies done with all the traffic and all that. I would like to, do you have that, just to look?
I don't have there hasn't been one done in a while. One of the things they did was cut back some of the funding and where they, you used to drive around and see those rubber hoses.
Yeah.
That's what they were, traffic counts. They
Right,
used to
right.
do them all, but they haven't done them in a few years, is my understanding, so I don't.
Who has that? Is that
Oakland
County
County
Roads?
Commission.
They got it all?
Yeah, yeah, they use that for their stuff, but I can tell you, generally speaking, none of the roads out here meet the threshold levels that are usually assigned for any of the things that they do, like paving and that. We have to kind of discuss and cajole them into getting a road paved out here in the project, but they've been, I think, very good to us. We have had certainly far more than our fair share of paving out here. But that study used to be done by them, and when I asked about a year and a half ago, they told me, well, we stopped doing them, we just didn't have the money to do them anymore. Any other questions? Dave?
Last month, I thought I heard you mention, I wasn't really paying attention at the moment, I was writing something, about repaving of Grange Hall? I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah, originally they were going to repave part of Grange Hall Road from Van Road, basically where Tripp Road is, to Jasmine, just before you get to the station. And then it got put off because they wanted to do Dixie Highway, and they're doing Dixie Highway from the supermarket down there, Oak Hill, all the way to the county line. And then they came back and said, we just are moving around, we got some more money, and they are gonna do Grange Hall. So I just went to the meeting on that last week. It is going to get
So it's
done.
gonna be done this summer?
Yep, absolutely.
Didn't they do part of it last year or something?
Well, they've done, typically Grange Hall's always been done more or less in two different
Pieces.
lays. They do, last time I think they did from Jocelyn around the curve into Dixie. And then on another paving project, they did from Jocelyn over to M15. And now, this one I think got paved one other time, and now they're doing this piece again. Those overlays that they do that are about 1.5 inches are generally designed to last about 8 to 10 years. And they have a truck that's got a camera on the bottom that they drive all the county roads. And they look for the number of holes and cracks and dips and stuff that are in the road. And when they get to a certain stage, they try to fix them or extend the life by doing an overlay of about 1.5 inches to extend it 10 years, 8 to 10 years. That's typically how they do it. We've just been pretty lucky that we've gotten a lot of it out here, really, because I think with Trip Road being done now, I don't think we have really a bad piece of pavement left in the ones that are paved.
Are they gonna rip this one up or just go over?
It'll just be another overlay, yeah. No, because it's $600,000. If it were ripped up, it'd probably be something like $7 million.
So they're just gonna grind it up and lay it down?
They're not gonna grind it up, they're gonna over it.
Just
I-
put more on
Typically, what
top.
they do is they go where the holes or the breakup are. They cut a lot of those out first, and then they do a patch there to get it level with the rest, and then they do a 1.5-inch overlay on the whole thing. Once they actually get the patchwork done, you'll see the overlay probably take, I'm guessing, 2 days. They'll do like one lane or something in one day and the other lane in the other day. So they'll have flagmen on it, and I think, did I give you the dates on that or something?
You may have.
I can't remember. As I said, I need to let the fire department know, because it's gonna be kind of tough getting through there for a while. You know, and the same thing on Dixie Highway, they're not gonna actually close it down, but the Dixie Highway one is gonna be done sometime between August, I think they said be over by August 8th. So they have a ton of road work going out for bid this year. All that money that we were told when Snyder was here, and they put that 7 cents extra on the gas tax last January, all that money's just starting to get into the system this year. So there's significantly more road work being done than in the past. And I think we've been pretty lucky. We've got, clearly, I think, way more than our share of it. Don't say that. Cut that out.
Don't tell Gretchen to say anything.
Dave.
That's all Gretchen.
Yeah, I didn't say it. Dave Butler. Okay. If there's no other public comments, I'll move to the reports. First one will be the Holly Area Youth Assistance. Do we have anything on that?
Well, there is no meeting this month because their annual banquet is going to be held on Thursday at 6:30 at the Holly Calvary United Methodist Church. Okay. That's about it.
Brandon Groveland Youth, Carrie, did you have anything?
The youth recognition banquet is coming up, and they talked about having a table at Septemberfest coming up. That was about it.
Okay, Dale's not here for Planning Commission. I don't think we have anything big on that, except that next meeting, I think, is the one for the recycling plant.
We canceled.
Yeah, there's a
the last
special,
one.
Yeah,
there's a
so-
special meeting on the 23rd.
Yeah, okay, for that, and that's for the recycling plant, site plan, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then BZA, Jimmy?
Nothing new?
On mine, I got a few things. First of all, for those who may not have seen it, there have been a significant number of news stories released, including the one that Dave's done on the ORV park. The ORV park's going to have, I call it a tent event, I don't know what else to call it. Their Oakland County Purchasing is going to set up on I had the date, I misplaced it. God, do you remember what it was, Dave? The tent event. It's in May, I think, May 10th, I think it is. And they're putting a tent up, and purchasing's gonna come out, and in the morning, they're gonna put a presentation on for any of the people that want to be considered as a vendor to the ORV park, where they're going to tell them, here's kind of what we think the ORV park's gonna be, how it is gonna develop, and what we're looking for in services. And that will give those people an opportunity to either respond to those requests, or to give Oakland County Parks any ideas they might have on another kind of service they might want to provide to somebody in there. At that same time, John Noyes and I are going to do a little presentation on what the township has envisioned for the 88 acres we have on Grange Hall Road, because we think some people are going to want to do things on the ORV park, like provide porta potties or some kind of food concession.
Right.
But we think there are also people, we know there are, who want to have a facility nearby where they might work on a test vehicle they're getting ready and be able to drive it there. And we think those are excellent candidates to be on some of the townships, 88 acres. So we're doing it in tandem together on that day in the morning. And my understanding is, although I don't have the time with me right now, I believe in the afternoon they're going to have kind of an update information awareness for anybody that's just interested in the park to go there. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about, the tent event. The second thing is Holly, George Cullis and Holly, the supervisor, myself, and Colin Walls have all been working for a couple of years now trying to brand the part of the Dixie Highway that is between exit 93 in Springfield, where you get off the expressway to get on Dixie, and then exit 106 where you can take Dixie and get back on I-75. That piece, it's about 13 miles. We've been trying to brand that the Dixie Byway. And I had told John Noyes at the county parks that just, for people who don't know, I'm an old car and motorcycle nut. So when I drive them here in the summer, a lot of people end up asking the guy, well, whose is that out there? And then I have a discussion with them, and I realized over the years that there are a significant number of people out here with antique cars and vehicles that they collect. And so I thought it'd be just a nice community thing to have a car show for all the old cars out here. And John came up with the idea, said it'd be great if we could do that and tie it in with the kickoff of the park and the whole idea of the Dixie Byway. So it's kind of blossomed out now. The car show will be October the 5th, for sure. That's the date. I can't for sure tell you the address, but it will be on Dixie Highway, and I will let you know as soon as I know for sure. But we're going to have a car show there. We've got about 50, 60 people that have already signed up that they want to be in it. And it's just to have a good time and let people kind of enjoy their classic vehicles. And I'm going to see if I can get some of the off-road people to bring some of those wild Jeeps and stuff that they have so people can see them. We want to use it as part of a kickoff program. And on April the 17th, this month, Teresa Bill's in our office, and John Noyes did a wonderful job writing up a grant that Consumers is putting out to help build kind of community awareness things. So we submitted it as a kickoff for the Dixie Byway. And what we've said is we want to use, if we can win money on the contest, we want to use it to help brand the Dixie Byway by putting the old red and white stripes that they used to mark for the Dixie Highway. If you don't know it, the first highways in the country were really east and west was the Lincoln Highway, from the east coast to the west coast. And from north to south was the Dixie Highway, which went from Mackinac City down to Tampa, Florida. And since there were no freeways, the way they marked it back then was people painted a red and white stripe on the pole. And so as you drove down these different roads going from Michigan to Florida, if you weren't sure you were on the right road, you just looked for the red and white poles and you knew by God you were still on the Dixie Highway. So we thought it would be kind of a nice historic touch if we could do banners, wraps, or something on the poles on these 13 miles. We're going to try and develop with the county a large poster that we're going to ask all the businesses up and down the corridor to put in, which shows the rich variety of recreational services that we have out here, because I don't know if a lot of people realize it, but I mean, there's a Renaissance Festival, Mount Holly. They're going to expand that. We're going to have the ORV park. The biggest mountain bike trail system in the whole state is on the other side of the expressway from exit 101.
Awesome.
There's historic Holly Village and Battle Alley. Down in Springfield is the 4-H Fairgrounds and the historic Ellis Barn and the headwaters of the Shiawassee. So we think if we put all this on a map in the area, people will start to realize it's not just come here for ORV or just come here for Renaissance Festival, but there's really a rich variety of things that people can enjoy. So it's the banding on the poles, the posters we want to get, and then we're going to get some decals made that the businesses along here can put on that says I'm part of the commercial district for the Dixie Byway, and for the car show we're going to get some smaller ones that say I cruise the Dixie Highway.
What day is it?
October 5th.
That's
It's
a
the
great
first
idea.
Saturday in October, and the reason we picked it is because I need to make sure that the Renaissance Festival is done, and it is
Oh,
the
yeah.
weekend before.
That's what I
You
want.
know, I got an idea.
What's that?
I work for Chrysler, and they do their old Jeep Mojave thing. I think they just did it.
Down in Toledo?
No,
No.
it's
Out west in
out
Moab.
west,
Oh.
The Moab Desert.
Moab.
That's
And
that's
if you
easy.
tell them, hey, we got this new ORV park, they're launching the new Gladiator right
Yep.
now.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
probably
and
wanna put some
also
of those-
Rubicon, that says Jeep all over.
Yep. I
I bet you
think
anything, they would set
So
something
you
up.
just
Yeah,
got to
and
sign
I appreciate it. I think they would. If you get a chance before you leave, if you can give me your number, I'll let you know. The biggest problem is, I know where I want to have it, but I
Right.
haven't told the people where I want to have it yet. So we're going to have it, and I have an alternate location locked up, but I want to see if I can get the one we're trying to first. And when I have that, we're going to start making flyers. I'll take them around to some of the car cruises and drop them in people's cars. We'll put it out on the sign, we'll run a video on it, and then we'll get to some key people that we think would want to have an opportunity to display at that. So that's hopefully on October the 17th, we'll get a little bit of seed money, because there were 50 applicants for this grant program. They narrowed it down to 10. We are one of the 10, but only the top 3 get any money. So on the 17th, I'll hobble up on stage with my bad knee and see if we can get some money for it to get it started. We're also going to work, I just talked to George Cullis this morning, and I went to their meeting last Friday for the Chamber of Commerce in Holly, and they would like to kind of spearhead some of this promotion for the Dixie Byway. So I'm going to join the Holly Chamber of Commerce and keep us in tune with whatever they're doing as we try and work together on promoting this area. There's been pretty good support from some of the businesses that have already been contacted that they see the value in what could happen when this ORV park opens. And we really feel that's the main spark plug, if you will, to ignite the whole thing. So we'll tell you more as we get closer to it.
Bobby, I don't know how they do it, but on where 75 and 23 diverge heading south, and they have the interstate markers in the lane, and that seems to be pretty enduring.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that. It says I-75 and the red
They
one
walked
thing.
in a plastic resin right into the road
Uh-huh.
to create it. But didn't Route 66 have markers right in the road to show where it started?
I don't know.
It would be kind of cool if you came off the exit ramp or up from
And
Clarkson
it was
and
melted in
it
there.
was right in the roadway on both ends.
That would be very cool. That'd be very cool.
And I think all of those kinds of things, along with some historic markers that we think would be appropriate along the way,
Yeah.
are what we'll eventually develop. But the first thing we got to do is build some awareness that we all want to call it the Dixie Byway and start that promotion. But then I think all those things will start to take off. It's a good idea. We think there's a good need for a viaduct crossing for pedestrians or bikes to get across I-75 at 101. But I'm told it might take the rest of all of our lives to get the road commission to decide to do that. So we'll save that for another day. The other thing I had is, this morning, a number of the supervisors in Oakland County got together with Chris Barnett in Groveland Township, and we met our state senator, Alyssa Simon. So it was a nice kind of a howdy meeting, you know, and appreciated the opportunity at least to meet her face to face. So if you have to ask somebody something, they've had an opportunity to meet you. So that's all I have for today. Is there anything for the clerk?
No, it's not quiet, but busy. But I did attend the MTA. I had the pleasure of being there when he was introduced, and he's gonna do great. He's very well liked already, I could tell. And we're just very proud to have him from our township there.
It was great to have a friendly face in your audience.
So all great things emanate from Groveland, right?
And Bob, they had a magician there,
Yeah.
and he was working on making a couple of people disappear. And I kept them away from Pat.
Thank you, Neil.
Okay, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Just audited, settlement is completed,
Okay,
balanced, and it went well.
alrighty, then if there's no further questions or comments from anybody, we'll adjourn and move to the fire board meeting. It's been adjourned and moved to, and Kevin, it's yours.
Okay, thank you. We had 73 calls for the month of March. I'm not sure if both the fires we had were in March, but we did, I don't know, one was in February, one was March.
Almost a year's quota typically,
It
isn't
is
it?
a year's quota for us. We had support from Brandon, Nakfa, the Village of Holly, Springfield, Independence, and Grand Blanc.
Every fireman in the area was up here.
It was during the day, so this turnouts are usually not as good, that's why. We did stop the fire, it didn't burn the whole house down, but talking to the insurance company, it's probably gonna be a total loss.
Well, you said by the time you guys got there, within 3 minutes, the whole floor caved in, so it
Right.
must have been burning for.
Well, then we found out from the insurance agents that they all ran out of the house and then left their phones in the house.
Oh, geez.
Had a hard time finding a phone to call, so that was unfortunate. And, but there was a lot of smoke damage, and they said, it's, you know,
Pretty well told.
I mean, it didn't fall down, it just, you know, the interior floor fell down and basically ruined the house. But I did have a question from one of the residents. They asked, do we have anything in place for like a, you know, fund, or should we do something like that? You know, have the township saying, hey, if people want to donate or something like that. But
Well, you know, most people do that is on that.
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe stuff, but the county might. Frequently, the county has, we've used the county before for elderly person who had to get out of their home because it wasn't safe, and they've actually found them someplace in the area to live and helped them with the rent for a while. So my guess would be, first choice is they probably should call the county.
I would think so.
Now, this wasn't a resident, this was someone wanting to donate to it.
And that's probably really a GoFundMe thing.
Yeah, okay, that's what I got. So the 73 calls, we had 126 last March. So for the year, we're at 241. Last year, we had 313. So we're down about 80 calls from last year, which is kind of in line where we thought it would be at this time. It's Severe Weather Awareness Week. They're having the class at Station 1 right now. As of last week, they had 6 people signed up. Today, there were 63. So we had to go get some more chairs. And anything else? We have DeAndre Chapman. He's a firefighter EMT. He took the fire class with us. He's from Flint, and he's on Flint Fire and Mount Morris Fire Department too. So I asked him if there's a conflict with Flint, and he said no. So yeah, he took the classes here. Everybody, you know, we had a good time with him. He fit in well, so we'd like to hire him.
Okay, do you know when he would start?
I told him tomorrow. He wouldn't start working shifts tomorrow. I just told him we couldn't do
So
it.
if I show up for coffee in the morning, he might be there?
He won't be there, because I won't call him till later.
Okay.
But he would be a fill-in basis, and he probably would not pick up shifts every week, but he just wants to be able to pick them up once in a while. And again, he enjoyed being down here with us. So.
Good, okay.
So,
So we need a motion to approve hiring, okay. Does he still need to get shots and stuff? He's got all the motions.
He's got all that.
Doesn't need the puppy shots, okay. Okay, make a motion that we approve hiring DeAndre Chapman as firefighter EMT. Second. Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Any from the audience? Jim seconded, and we do, well, there's money, I'm sorry, take it, because he will get paid.
Patty Back,
Yes.
Shelley Kidd,
Yes.
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Bob DePalma.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
That's all I have.
Severe Awareness Week is April 8th. Usually Brent puts stuff out on the cable channel for that anyway. So I think.
Yeah, it only gets a week. It's not the month or anything else. I just assumed it was days. I didn't look it up, so it's since they're having the class. I think it was this week.
Okay.
I'll double check and let you know in the morning.
Nothing else then, right? Okay. I think, any other questions or comments? No? Motion to adjourn.
So.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.